8:32.
If that's the best we can report.
I'll ask you afterwards.
We're going to start by asking everybody to please turn off your cell phones. Good morning, everybody. We're going to start off with Brian Kendrick leading us in prayer.
Bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you. We thank you first and foremost, Lord, for the people in this community that organized relief efforts related to Harvey. Lord, we thank you that we have a community that's made up of individuals who have that kind of integrity and that kind of fortitude and that kind of compassion. Lord, we thank you for that. We pray for the continued recovery of those affected by Harvey. And Lord, we pray for the wisdom, for divine wisdom for this council, Lord, as they deliberate the matters related to this community. And Lord, we just thank you for each one of their services on this council, and we thank you for this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
I've got two cute little girls who are going to come up here and lead us in the pledge. You want to come forward and introduce yourselves? Tell them where you go to school, okay? First. Okay, speak right here.
Hi, my name is Elliot, and I go to Cornerstone Christian School.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Haley, and I go to Cornerstone Christian School.
Perfect. All right, we're going to turn around, and we've got our flag right here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag.
Pledge allegiance to thee.
Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We are now going to start with our proclamations today, and the first one is going to be the Western Intermediate Little League. Would you all folks please come forward? We recognize you in the crowd. Those bright orange shirts are hard to miss. The summer of 2017 will long be remembered as a historic, record-breaking season for our community. 12 young men and 5 coaches accomplished what had never been done before by a San Angelo team. They made it to the Intermediate Little League World Series in Livermore, California. It required them winning sections in San Antonio, which they did 3-0, then state finals in Abilene, again winning 3-0, and then off to regionals in Colorado. They fought hard for the title, completing the series 5-1. From there, they immediately flew to Livermore, California to represent the Southwest region of the United States in the Intermediate World Series. They won 1 game in the competition, eventually losing twice to the team who would ultimately play for the title, New Jersey. Western, who became known as Southwest in the World Series, finished 4th in the United States and 8th in the world for 2017. Accomplishing this tremendous feat are players Connor Barnes, Caden Box, Jacob Charles, Ty Casey, Dominic Garcia, Ethan Green, Caden Highmester, Darren Llewellyn, Stryler Price, Richie Ramos, R.J. Marino, and Jacob Saldivar, plus coaches Sean Box, manager Nick Barron, Luke Green, Fred Garcia, and Ashley Llewellyn. A few statistics for the record books. Stryler Price had 6 home runs. Jacob Charles and Caden Box each had 5. Charles and Box both had a home run in the World Series. Box led the team an average .491, 10 stolen bases, and 27 runs. .548 on base percentage, OPS 1.56, batting average with runners in scoring position .545. Charles led with 28 runs batted in, 1.20 ERA, and 45 strikeouts in 23 innings. Caden Box and Jacob Charles both led team with duplicate stats. Hits 26, triples 4, slugging percentage 1.019. Now, therefore I, Brenda Gunter, Mayor of the City of San Angelo, Texas, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize and applaud the Western Intermediate Little League 50/70, not only for their outstanding and impressive victories, but also for their commitment to athletic excellence at local, state, regional, and World Series levels, while being great ambassadors for our city. Congratulations. Come speak.
First of all, I'd like to present the city with this jersey and a signed ball.
Look at this, signed by everybody. I used to play softball.
Right.
First of all, we would all like to thank y'all for having us. To tell you a little bit about the boys' journey, I'll be real short, but it started last year, about a year ago. We went to San Antonio and played in the Little League, the majors divisions, kind of what y'all see on TV. And we ended up playing against McAllister Park, who ended up going to the World Series last year. And that gave the boys motivation going into this year. And we had it as a goal to try and go all the way to Livermore, California in August. And we started in San Antonio, and then we went to Abilene, and then on to Colorado, and then we eventually made it all the way to Livermore, California. So that was a lot of traveling. There wasn't a lot of time in between each one. There was actually a 24-hour turnaround to go to Colorado, and then a 48-hour turnaround to get all the way to Livermore. So without the help of the city helping us raise to get the families there, you know, it would have been tough. But we appreciate the city coming together and helping us get there. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Big old head right there in the back.
Very much. Is Mason Matthews here, please? We are going to recognize Mason Matthews today for his leadership and coordination of the 2017 Texas Firefighter Summer Games. Chief.
Morning. This morning we're here to give thanks to Mason for the job that he did in coordinating and running the Texas Firefighter Olympics in the city of San Angelo. This is the third time that this event has been here. It was here in 1990, 2009, and this summer in 2017. To let you know a little bit about how this takes place, about a year and 9 months before the actual event, Mason and 3 other guys traveled to Conroe to put in a bid for the Olympics to come here, and the presentation was successful, and with that comes hundreds of firefighters come and stay for 5-6 days here and participate in all kinds of events here. What Mason had to do was attend several meetings during this course. He had to get all the venues set up with the people in town where these events were going to take place. And how many events is there? 20? About 20 events. So you got all kinds of things taking place, such as archery. The sports complex was heavily used, bowling, these kind of events that the firefighters do. Mason did a fantastic job with that. I don't know exactly how many firefighters were here, but there was hundreds of them. They were very thankful and appreciative of his efforts, and we are hoping that we can get this event on a 4 or 5 year rotation to bring these people to San Angelo on that schedule. And Mason, the Convention and Visitors Bureau would like you to have this plaque on behalf of your efforts. Thank you.
Just a little follow-up to what Chief Brian Dunn added to this conversation is that there were approximately 1,000 firemen who came to these Olympics, and we believe that there was over an $800,000 economic impact to the city, which is terrific, and there were about 600 hotel rooms. So it not only was successful for the convention, but very successful for San Angelo. So thank you for all your time and effort, energy to creating and making this incredible event happen. Thank you, Mason. Jeremy Bryant, are you here today? Today we are going to recognize Jeremy Bryant, the voice of Angelo State University, for winning the Lone Star Broadcaster of the Year award for an unprecedented 5th time. Jeremy Bryant can rightly be placed alongside the best who've ever been associated with Angelo State University athletics. The voice of Angelo State athletics, Bryant made history in July when he became the first person to win the Lone Star Conference Broadcaster of the Year award 5 times. He is just the 4th broadcaster to win the award 3 straight years. Bryant also won the award in 2016, 15, 2008, and 2006. Honorees are selected by the sports information directors at the LSC's member universities. Bryant has called Angelo State athletic events for the last 16 years for Foster Communications, where he also broadcasts Lakeview High School football games. He provides play-by-play analysis for ASU football, basketball, baseball, and softball. The sports director at Foster Communications also provides an inside look at local athletes and coaches with his weekly Sports Huddle radio show on KKSA 1260 AM. Bryant has also emceed the ASU Athletics Hall of Honor and the Hollins Award Banquet many times. Last year, the Standard Times honored Bryant as one of its 20 under 40 rising young leaders in our community. Therefore, I, Brenda Gunter, Mayor of the City of San Angelo, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize and applaud Jeremy Bryant for his achievement and positive determination to make a difference in our community. Congratulations, Jeremy. You got a voice. Come on.
I'm a little nervous talking.
Now.
A little nervous talking. I don't ever talk very much, so I just want to thank the council and the city for this honor. And of course, Foster Communications for giving me the chance to do this for a number of years. Just giving me all the resources and just giving me the opportunity. I thought I'd be in San Angelo when I took this job almost 16 years ago. I thought I'd be here, 2 or 3 years the most, but it turns out that I kind of fell in love with San Angelo and with Angelo State and with the city of San Angelo and everything. So it kind of beats working for a living because it's really not, doesn't feel like a real job because I get a chance to talk about sports and do what I love to do. So I just thank you guys for this. Appreciate it.
Patty Brightwater, are you here today? All right. We were going to recognize the United Way of the Concho Valley's 2017 campaign, which is themed Change Starts Here. There she is. In accepting the presidential nomination in 1980, Ronald Reagan said this: "Together, let us make this a new beginning. Let us make a commitment to care for the needy, to teach our children the values and the virtues handed down to us by our families, to have the courage to defend those values and the willingness to sacrifice for them." Those words are as relevant today as they were 37 years ago. The United Way of the Concho Valley's theme for this year's campaign reflects a new beginning for the Concho Valley. The theme is Change Starts Here, with the philosophy that working together we can create change right here, right now. The United Way's annual campaign under the leadership of Campaign Chair Joe Munoz will kick off September 9th with a Day of Caring. Through the end of the year, volunteers and staff will be hosting scores of fundraisers and visiting local employers. During those visits, they will be asking their neighbors to consider helping others in our community who are far less fortunate. The United Way has a vision for our city. It wants every child, every senior citizen, every individual, and every family to have the opportunities to live healthy, productive lives and to have access to necessary services when they need them. With the community's support, we can make this dream a reality. The City of San Angelo supports the United Way. We ask that you do the same. Therefore, I, Brenda Gunter, Mayor of the City of San Angelo, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize and applaud the United Way of the Concho Valley for its achievement and positive determination to make a difference in our community.
I would just like to say on behalf of the United Way of the Concho Valley, thank you all, every person in this community, for your support. We couldn't do it without you, and we love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me give you this back. We are now going to ask Becky Powers to come forward, if you would, please. Okay. Come on in here. Come on. on up here. Come on. The week of September 10th, 2017 has been designated as National Direct. Oh, let's see here. I think we're not going to read that. They are going to, is there one up here? Did I give anybody 2 of these? All right. Will give me 1 second. While I'm getting ready to pull that up, would you like to go ahead and speak and talk about this that you're handing out? And then we'll get the proclamation going.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It is an honor to accept the proclamation on behalf of the families in the Concho Valley who have been impacted by childhood cancer. Today I have with me just 3 of those families. This is Journey, who was diagnosed with neuroblastoma at the age of 2 months. Then we have Liam, who fought a brain tumor when he was 1 year old. And then we also have Aiden, who fought an aggressive form of leukemia with which he was diagnosed at 5 years. This is the reason that I'm here today. This is the reason that I do what I do to help bring awareness to children and cancer. I'm speaking today, though, as a representative of Turn It Gold, which was inspired by my cousin's son, Charlie. And here's Charlie. He was diagnosed with stage 4 high-risk neuroblastoma at the age of 4, and he was given a 50% chance of survival. But today, Charlie's nearly 10, and he is surviving and teaching us what it means to be brave every day as he fights to be cancer-free. Through Charlie's illness, his parents, Mike and Angela Dina, were compelled to do more than just support their own family. They established Turn It Gold to support all families and all children battling pediatric cancer, to unite everyone who cares and everyone who's working to find a cure, knowing that the power of all of us together is the best chance that our kids have. So our motto is be brave, be bold, turn it gold. Because we believe that brave individuals such as Charlie, Journey, Aiden, and Liam, all the children who are fighting, who have fought cancer, inspire others, and we know that bold action creates change. Turning It Gold raises awareness of childhood cancer and increases funding for the cause while reminding people that, like gold, children's lives are precious and are of greater importance than the cancer that affects them and their families. In the reading of the proclamation, you will hear that childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease of our children. In spite of that fact, though, childhood cancer research receives only 4% of the national cancer research budget. And that's all of the budget, and that's designated for all types of childhood cancers. So September is National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and this is our opportunity to honor children and families affected by the disease. But it's time we shift from awareness into action. Action means moving the needle and changing lives by rallying support that will bring groundbreaking research that can save our kids' lives. Together, we have the power to turn loss into life. Together, we can turn childhood cancer awareness into more childhood cancer research. So join us as we turn it gold in September and beyond. And I do have some cards and gold ribbon stickers on the back table, and we would love for you to take one. The Turn It Gold website is listed there, and like you to go by there if you'd like more information, and don't hesitate to reach out and contact us if you would like to know what you can do to help us turn it gold. Thank you.
We will now read the proclamation. Thank you. That was very well said. Families, caregivers, charities, and research groups across the United States, as well as our national government, are observing the month of September as National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to memorialize the young lives that have been taken too soon and to honor those fighting and those that have survived but yet face major health challenges associated with this disease. Approximately 13,500 children under the age of 18 will be diagnosed with cancer in 2016, and approximately 1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer and will die within the first 5 years. Childhood cancer is the leading cause of death among children under the age of 18, according to the most recent statistics provided by the Centers for Disease Control. While progress against some childhood cancers has been made, cure rates for many forms of childhood cancer remain less than 50%. The incidence of childhood cancers is increasing at a more rapid rate than any other age group and crosses all racial, ethnic, geographic, and social backgrounds. Finally, gold has been the official ribbon color for childhood cancer awareness since 1977. Therefore, I, Brenda Gunter, Mayor of the City of San Angelo, Texas, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2017 as National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in San Angelo, Texas, and urge all citizens to wear gold to show their support and to honor the children fighting the fight, the families and caregivers, the researchers and healthcare professionals, concerned citizen advocates, and private philanthropies who collaborate to provide hope and assistance to the children and their families affected by childhood cancer. You want to come up here? You want to come to
No, we've heard. I had been in the bathroom saying hello.
You can sit down. Is Amy Mazzell Flint here today? Nope. Okay. The week of September 10th, 2017 has been designated as National Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week in order to celebrate and recognize professionals who provide support to millions of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This celebration recognizes the dedication and vital role of direct support professionals in enhancing the lives of individuals with disabilities of all ages. The community plays a role in lifting up direct support professionals as integral in supporting the needs of people with disabilities and their families through service systems across the United States. The goals of this city properly give recognition to those who directly help people with disabilities gain full access to housing, employment, and the recreational activities which help create productive and satisfying lives and to live as independently as possible. Now, therefore, I, Brenda Gunter, Mayor of the City of San Angelo, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of September 10th, 2017 as Direct Support Professional Recognition Week in the City of San Angelo and call upon the citizens of San Angelo to observe the week with appropriate programs and activities. Furthermore, I encourage the citizens of San Angelo to seek information from those organizations with expertise in matters concerning professionals who support individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And that, I believe, concludes our proclamations. At this point, we are open for public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, begin by stating their name, and limit remarks to less than 3 minutes. Council members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda. The council takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Do we have any public comment this morning?
Mayor, Council, my name is Steve Hampton. I'm here because my comments last time were edited out of the recordings of last time's City Council meeting. I'm here for a couple of reasons. I don't believe that, I do believe that the budget is being overburdened, and I'm here to request that you keep the expenses down as much as you can. Don't overspend. I'm also here asking that this money that is conserved be put aside for emergency situations. Of course, we see all around us the effects of weather and fire and such, and we need to save because it may happen to us. I believe also that the consent agenda is being overused. I've been up here several times concerning that. I believe that maybe an ordinance needs to be put forward concerning who has control of the agenda. I would say that it would need to be an elected officers controlling that agenda, most likely the mayor, who has the chief oversight of what goes on the consent agenda, because this is where we're having most of our spending come through, and it's not fully illuminated and presented to the public. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Any further public comment today? With no further public comment, we will go into the consent agenda. Billy, do you have anything that you would like to pull from the consent agenda?
No, Mayor, I don't.
Lane?
Nothing to pull.
Lucy? Nothing. Tom?
No, ma'am.
Tom?
No, ma'am.
Harry?
No, ma'am.
Brenda? No. Okay, so at that point, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll move into the regular agenda. Item A, presentation of report from the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Council and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Presentation will be by Diana Bays and Vice President Michael Looney.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to update the Council on activities being conducted by the Chamber of Commerce. We have some new council members. I wanted to lead off with a brief overview of the Chamber of Commerce for those who might not be familiar with who we are and what we do, what our mission is, and what we do for the community. The Chamber is a membership or association whose purpose is to foster and promote business and tourism, and we also are here to assure economic growth within the city. We are also interested in obviously taking care of our members, but the community at large and what we do. We conduct chamber programs and membership services. We promote tourism, manage the State Visitors Center, and we have an economic development department. The mission of the Chamber of Commerce of the Economic Development Division of the Chamber of Commerce is to promote business growth in San Angelo, and it is to promote growth and increase the tax base for the community through marketing to attract new companies and assist existing businesses. We have a long-standing relationship with the COSADC, that's the City of San Angelo Development Corporation, and we have contracted with them for many, many years, and we currently work with them on a contract basis to attract new companies to San Angelo, and we are also assisting them with companies that are already here and trying to figure out different ways that we can support them and find ways we can grow those businesses. The COSADC contract is organized into a series of tasks. These tasks require the Chamber to accomplish the following deliverables, including annual community profile, prospect research, a monthly business barometer, trade show attendance, company outreach mailers, site selection assistance, state level marketing, out-of-town call trips, conducting prospect site visits, Goodfellow Air Force Base mission support, and that's just to name a few. There's the list right there. The Chamber's Economic Development Division's objectives are to target industries most compatible with San Angelo, and as you can see, we do all we can to outreach to these companies and achieve these goals. Some of the things that we enjoy most at the Chamber are bringing new companies into San Angelo to show them what we can do and what our hometown is like and the different opportunities that are available. Music was part of the show. Thanks very much, Mr. Dane.
It was not me.
We thought you were a ventriloquist, Michael.
Thank you for that little opera
My
music.
voice never sounded that good.
So far in 2017, the Chamber's attended the Bio International Trade Show in California in conjunction with the State of Texas Economic Development booth. We've made call trips to San Diego, to the Midland, Odessa area to visit potential prospects, and we have sent over 400 mailers to professional site selectors and manufacturing companies. So far in 2017, we've been working with 5 prospective companies, manufacturers, 3 of which have toured San Angelo industrial facilities, and we have a company committed and 1 inbound. We've been focusing on industrial sectors that are complemented by the commercial strengths of San Angelo. These sectors include medical manufacturing, trucking logistics, heavy industry manufacturing, and food production. We have several engaged prospects at this time that we're working with. To briefly go through it, Project Med Center is a biotech lab. Project Home Care is a large skilled nursing facility. Project MedTech is a California-based medical products manufacturer, and Project Tank is a steel tank manufacturer. And not long after we presented this program, we were engaged by another steel company identified on your list as Project Roll. We managed to get it on the list very late in the game. This was actually a referral that was given to us by Project Tank, which is a company that creates steel tanks for the oil industry. See, there's a lot of symbiotic relationships between the companies that we're recruiting and the ones that they say they'd like to have come along as potential suppliers. And here's another list of the transactions in progress. Recently, we conducted a 2-day site visit with Project Med Center. This is a biotechnology lab that is interested in the San Angelo market. We received a request for information from the prospect identified as Project Home Care and provided them with detailed market research and due diligence for their effort to study San Angelo. We paid a site visit to Project MedTech in California to study their facility and gain a better understanding of what they would need should they decide to relocate their manufacturing facility to San Angelo. And as a matter of encouraging this deal, we arranged and conducted a phone call directly from the prospect to the prospect from Rolando Pablos, who is Secretary of the State for the state of Texas. And I met with Rolando at the Bio International Trade Show in San Diego earlier this year. So you can see we're always willing to go the extra mile, and if we can set up a conversation between the Secretary of State and a prospect, encouraging him to look at San Angelo, we do it. Recruitment success for 2017 includes First Flight Air Ambulance. This is a fixed-wing medical transportation system. We began working with them in 2016, and they commenced operations at Mathis Field in 2017, hired 8 employees, did approximately $1 million in capital investment. We thought this was a really nice win because it was a way to bring more jobs to San Angelo, but it also encourages the development of the aviation sector of San Angelo and Mathis Field. Along with working with the city, we also work with the governor's office, and we so far this year in 2017 have submitted 4 requests for information. These are companies that come through the governor's office, and we responded to them. We have to respond to them very quickly. We have all that information pretty much ready to go, so when they do come in from the governor's office, we're able to respond in a timely manner. We also actively market our local facilities to prospective companies, and so far we have toured a total of 14 available facilities throughout San Angelo, including the San Angelo Business and Industrial Park, and this is just a list of some of the properties that we've taken companies through. In reporting to COSADC, the City of San Angelo Development Corporation, we update the city in a number of ways. Recently, we created a COSADC Chamber Standing Committee that is made up of representatives of each board. We enter our completed tasks per the contract in the COSADC Work Zone Project Management System, which is a collaborative project management system that we have in place with the city. We submit detailed invoices, and we attend the Friday morning COSADC staff meetings and deliver verbal and written reports. So as you can see, we have an ongoing communication with the city in addition to our semi-annual and quarterly reports. The Chamber COSADC Standing Committee has produced some good results so far this year, namely fostering a greater degree of communication between the two organizations. In accordance with our contract, we also attend different trade shows. This year we've attended the Bio International Convention in San Diego, which is where we met Rolando Pablos, and we did that in conjunction with the state of Texas as a member of their booth, so we're part of the Texas delegation. In 2017, we released our latest community profile, which I think you might have in front of you, and we've linked it electronically to the city and the Chamber's websites. And so we put a lot of hours into putting this together. It takes a lot of research, and we get a lot of compliments from the prospects that we deliver it to. We recently launched a searchable commercial property database that is linked to the city website and to the Chamber website. This is a really valuable tool. This is something that's updated monthly by the host provider, so all the different properties that we have in San Angelo, the commercial properties, are updated in a timely manner. This makes it really easy for prospects to search different properties that are available in San Angelo, and it also allows us to research them too, because we use this tool just as much as they do. In national print marketing, we featured an ad in the Governor's Wide Open for Business Trade Journal. This is what they take out when they go on road shows around the country and around the world. And we have a quarter-page ad that we did in this year's issue. Also in your community profile, you notice some loose materials. These are some flyers that we produce that are specific to different industries that we're trying to attract to San Angelo, and they tell these companies about the different capabilities that we've got. One is the biomedical brochure, which also features a clean room space that we're trying to market and get leased or sold on 3922 Tractor Trail Drive. And we also did another one for the San Angelo manufacturing sector, the fabrication sector. And this gets sent out to trade show. We take them to trade shows, but we also take them out to when we meet with different companies. And then we did a 400-piece mailer recently to site selectors and to different manufacturing companies in the general area. And it did produce some inquiry results. And another branch of public outreach, we also do we write articles in different trade journals. This is from the trade journal called Global Trade Magazine. And this is an article that we wrote in conjunction with the author of the article, writing a story about America's manufacturing renaissance. Public outreach. Another important part of what we do is to get the word out to the public about opportunities in San Angelo. The Chamber also conducts regular TV, radio, and public presentations in order to inform the community about economic development trends, new developments, and opportunities. And we are appreciative of our media partners and other organizations who've invited us to broadcast these messages. The Chamber also serves the city's efforts with participation in local and regional transportation initiatives. We participate in the Metropolitan Planning Organization. We sit on the board. The Ports to Plains Coalition, the Gulf Coast Strategic Highway Program, and the Airport Task Force Committee. Goodfellow Air Force Base, being our largest employer, we play an important role in supporting the mission of Goodfellow, and we lobby at the highest levels. Last winter, we sent a delegation of community leaders to Washington, D.C. to lobby for protection of the current base missions and to encourage new ones. The following slides, you will see some of the information we produce and provide to you, as well as to the existing and prospective companies that we're talking to. These are sections of our monthly business barometer, which tracks the health of our economy and the main sectors of our economy. I want to take a minute as I kind of conclude here to give you a regional industry update. We're seeing an increase in oil field related companies considering San Angelo and inquiring about available sites and labor force. Our economic development partner, Concho Valley Workforce, also reports a marked increase in the need for commercial drivers, fabricators, oil field technicians, and welders. San Angelo oil field equipment fabricators are reporting steady hiring in 2017 with a dramatic increase in the last few months. To give some indication as to why this might be, consider that in August 2016 there were 177 active rigs in Texas. Today there are 466 active rigs. That's 289 rigs added in the past 12 months. Of the 466 rigs, 81% are in our neighboring Permian Basin. This is the highest rig count since March of 2015. Investors have deployed $28 billion into the Permian Basin in the last year, and that's more than triple the amount invested in 2015. And at this time, our neighboring drilling activity in the Permian Basin contains 51% of all active U.S. drilling rigs. And so we are definitely feeling the effects of that at the Chamber, and we are getting the calls and we're getting the interaction from companies looking for people, looking for sites, and looking for suppliers. Finally, the Chamber has several new economic development organizational initiatives in the works. We have formed a joint COSADC standing committee, which I mentioned earlier. This is creating a greater enhancement of communication and collaboration. We are researching a refined COSADC Chamber contract. We've formed an Economic Development Advisory Board, and we've increased our Economic Development Committee membership to include our cornerstone investors who play a role in our funding, but also in business advising. And so, as you can tell, we're busy on your behalf, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. And that concludes my report.
Do I have any questions for Michael from City Council? Michael, I just want to say thank you for the work and effort that you're doing. As you know, economic development is one of the most important things that we can do here in the city. So I ask that you enlist the support of anyone up here at any point when you think our involvement can be a positive to us growing our business, recruiting new companies, and helping San Angelo grow that commercial base that we need. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much,
And
Mayor.
it's
And San
a great
Angelo has a
report.
very, very good base. We have a good economic base, and we have a very, very bright future. And so it's a real pleasure and a real honor for us to be in the position to help grow that and to foster that. San Angelo's got, like I said, a bright future. We're in Texas. We're the fastest growing economy in the United States. San Angelo is definitely feeling the effects of the Permian Basin, but we're also feeling the effects of a lot of suppliers and companies that support the efforts in the Permian and other industries as well. It's certainly not just all oil related. And so it's, like I said, it's a great honor to be able to do it, and we look forward to bringing you guys some more results in the next coming months.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Very good, thorough report.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Diane?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Make sure I know how to use this. Arrow button. Okay. Haven't used them so before. I'm Diane Bays. I'm the Vice President of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, a division under the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm delighted to be here. I wanted to just share things that you may or may not know about our organization. It is to enhance the quality of life for the citizens of San Angelo through tourism marketing and promotion. And by doing so, that increases the quality of life, as it says, but it also is done through full hotel tax dollars. So when visitors come and spend money and stay in our overnight in our hotels, that is the funding we use, which is required by state law to be used in specific ways. And so we try to follow the letter of that law in order to increase that tourism product. The vision of our Convention and Visitors Bureau is to generate economic impact by promoting and developing San Angelo as a premier destination for business and leisure travelers so they fully experience San Angelo's historic and cultural attractions, nature-based tourism, unique shopping, culinary options, entertainment and sports venues, and overnight accommodations. And as I think most of you know, I've been here starting my 6th month. And when I first started here, I commented about the diversity of the product that we have in our community. And I continue to learn more and more about that product. And it is a very diverse tourism product. And that is not common in a lot of communities. And so we should be very proud of what we have to offer and continue to market it to those visitors so we can increase that visitor spending. Our goals, to attract the conventions and meetings. Why is that important? The Sunday through Thursday business for our hotel partners is extremely important. We need to reach out to those meetings and conventions to get them to come to San Angelo, to spend their dollars, to overnight, to understand better what our community has to offer, because in doing so, they are visitors first, and those are also business people. They are business owners. They come to our community, they see what we have to offer. They could look at relocating their business, relocating their family, or retiring here. And so that is an important piece to what we do in our industry. It is also to, of course, increase tourism, to get those visitors to come overnight, and then also to visit our attractions and all of our restaurants and retail organizations to also increase that sales tax base. To attract visitors through development and promotion of special events. Of course, we have some wonderful events. We have several that are coming up. Lily Fest is coming up in the next 2 weeks. We also have, of course, Christmas at Fort Concho and Christmas on the Concho River. And those lights are something I know. I saw a colleague recently at the Texas Association of Convention and Visitors Bureau's annual conference in Fort Worth, and the first thing she said when she saw me was, "I come to San Angelo every year with a group of girlfriends to just go through those Christmas lights." So we will continue to market the special events. To expand our tourism base through a broader understanding and appreciation for economic impact of the tourism industry. A lot of people don't understand that tourism is pure economic development. It is the purest form. People come in, they spend their dollars, and then they leave. And we want them to come back over and over again. They don't use a lot of our infrastructure, but they help in helping our citizens pay less annually in their tax dollars. That number is $397 per household. So if not for visitor spending, that would be what the individuals would have to pay. And then finally, to encourage tourism development and strategies to address that future growth. That is truly important to our industry and what we do to make sure we are making that tourism product the best product it is and it can be to offer to our visitors. These are our January through June results I'm going to be sharing, and I wanted to just give you this picture, the power of travel. This is something done by the U.S. Travel Association. If you notice, travelers are there, and then this is the dollar that is impacted. So they come in airplanes, they come by car, they come by bus. They will come in, they'll spend money on fuel, as we've all seen, and we are spending that too this past week. They come for meetings and conventions. They overnight, they camp, they go to our rodeo grounds, our sports arenas. They come for entertainment, they eat, they spend money on retail, they go to our attractions, and then who else benefits from that? The bakeries, the schools, the farms, the banks, all of our community benefits, and then local goods and services and outside goods and services come into our industry because of tourism spending. Our biannual activity, this is again from January through June. We assisted with 44 conventions, meetings, sporting events, and motor coach tours. We projected out-of-town attendance of 25,000 through those efforts. We projected attendance of 61,000, and we projected over 8,600 room nights. The average length of stay is 4 nights, and the total economic impact is $7,419,000. As far as our marketing efforts, we were very heavy in leisure marketing when I arrived. We used Travel Host of West Texas, TourTexas.com, the Texas State Travel Guide, and Texas Highways, Texas Events Calendar, Authentic Texas, and See Texas First. All of these, again, are leisure marketing efforts, and so I'll talk about further what we've done on the other side. Our marketing efforts also in Facebook, we reached 10,000 likes when I arrived, probably around May. We've continued to increase that. Our Twitter followers are going up. We are working on our LinkedIn page so that we can better update that business side of our marketing. Our Instagram account has been very active, and then, of course, we're working on our Pinterest. The social media is key in travel and tourism marketing. I know when I started 20-plus years ago, we didn't follow, we didn't tweet, we didn't do any of that. All of that has changed in the past 10 years, and so we have got to change with those times. Other efforts that we have made, the Texas Film Commission offers a film-friendly Texas community designation. We did not have that. I have attended the workshop. I'm now working on the photography information that needs to be added to their piece, and also working on a filming permit that is required in order to be a film-friendly community. Because of those efforts, we had a London documentary filmmaker here the end of July. They reached out to me the week after I got back from our film commission meeting, and so that was a positive. And we also had a California movie producer who's going to be here the end of this month filming. And I had last week some folks come in and also worked with them. They were out of Colorado. The small market meetings, I had an interview for our the Fall Experience Texas True West article. There were 5 Texas communities that were reached out to for wanting to know what we do as meeting planners to highlight that West Texas feel. And so that was an opportunity for us to showcase San Angelo. Also, the CVB trade show and sales activity. American Bus Association is the motor coach market, as is the Southwest Motor Coach Association. Susanna Aguirre is our Director of Sales and Servicing, and she is part of that market. And we are excited to announce that in December we will be part of the National Tour Association, who is going to be here for their annual conference in San Antonio, and we will be part of a bus tour, which is a rare thing for us. We got a West Texas pre-con, and there will be around 40 tour operators coming from San Antonio to Waco to Abilene to San Angelo and then back to San Antonio. So we will be wining and dining those folks, making sure that they understand what we have to offer here in West Texas and encouraging them to come to see us. Southwest Showcase is also a part of the Meeting Planner Association that's out of Austin. And so in order to get in front of the association and meetings market, we have to be there face-to-face to talk to those folks. We are scheduled to attend the National Association of Sports Councils and National Tour Association, but we were unable to attend due to staff shortage, but we will be adding those to our market next year. And then, of course, we do monthly calls to Austin. Our hotel occupancy from January through June was 53.57%. The average daily rate was $68.10, and that's based on 2,815 rooms. To give you a little perspective about that, based on single occupancy for those 6 months, 275,000 people came to our community and overnighted. Now, that's based on single occupancy. If you look at that at double, that's a 500,000 folks. So it is a very important industry for our community. The visitor center statistics, you know, we do manage a regional visitor center. These are just the top cities, states, and countries who come to our community. A lot of those folks come out of Goodfellow, and we are thrilled to have them here. Our community outreach, we again work closely with KLST on interviews. We do radio spots with Foster Communication. We do bi-monthly Goodfellow tours to introduce those coming into Goodfellow to help them better see what there is to do and see in San Angelo. We also offer Texas-friendly hospitality training. We will continue doing that on a quarterly basis. We are part of the Leadership San Angelo training, and we also promoted National Travel and Tourism Week this year, as well as Police Appreciation Day. Our recent efforts, we rebranded our website. We were Visit San Angelo. We are now Discover San Angelo. We felt it was very important that we have people discover who we are. When I took this job, I can tell you a lot of the people in my industry even said, I'm not familiar with what there is to see and do in San Angelo. And so we felt that the Discover piece of that is very important. In this, there were only about 4 weeks of reporting here. We had over 17,000 page views and 2,862 users, which was 3 times what the amount was in May for our previous website. In future planning, we do have a strategic planning session scheduled for November 2nd. We will have Mara Gass, the president of the Irving Convention and Visitors Bureau and also a San Angelo native, do the facilitation for that. We're very excited about moving this organization forward. We are developing a marketing and communications plan. Part of that is to tell the story of San Angelo by working through our rebranding of Discover San Angelo through travel writers, press release distribution, video development, an in-house blog that also offers guest bloggers from here or from other areas of the country. We are still seeking those out. Of course, our film commission efforts. And our focus will be on advertising and marketing on the meeting, convention, group tour, and sports market. Those are really important to us. And then, of course, gathering the research. We need to know what kind of visitors want to come to our community. We'll work through Smith Travel, Source Strategies, and the Office of the Governor of Economic Development and Tourism. And as for our accountability, We are very accountable to you. We are accountable to our board and our advisory committee. So we want to make sure that we have citizen involvement in learning to what there is to see and do and what our efforts are from the CVB. I thank you, and I welcome any questions.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I would just like to say thank you as well to Diane and to Michael. That is really good, encouraging information for a new city council member to just see and observe the energy that's put into the economic development growth for San Angelo. So I just applaud you greatly. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I also want to say thank you for all your work and effort and for broadening the perspective of what we can be and who we are and making sure other people understand and discover San Angelo. It's an important part of our growth and development, and your leadership, your insight, your background professionalism has been a wonderful addition to the staff at the Chamber. So thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much.
Before you run off, Diane, just want to make a public comment because I've been a proponent of Convention and Visitors Bureau for a long time. $7.9 million is a pretty good economic impact in San Angelo. That's like bringing in a couple of fairly large companies to make that type of impact. So when we talk about marketing San Angelo and the people coming in here using what I say other people's money, this is a great deal for San Angelo. And for the most part, we're not giving any economic incentives for those people to come here. So thank you so much. I appreciate what you and Michael do so much because it really helps this community.
Thank you.
Diane, I guess-
go ahead. Go ahead, Tom.
My turn. Number one, thank you for what we've done. As somebody like Harriet's, we've been on CV board with you. One thing a lot of people don't understand is what it takes when people come in here reporting, and it's all about statistics for what we have to build with. If you would, if just maybe touch a little bit about hotels and how many hotels we have in Angelo, how many probably report to you, and maybe what percentage of those that you get the accuracy out of. Can you elaborate on that?
We have 33 hotels, 2,815 rooms, and we do have a challenge with that. You know, if we have a group block, that's one thing. You have a group come in, and we have a code that they put in for the hotel industry, and I was a former hotelier, so I'm very familiar with it. But when you have events or activities, not everybody will ask those questions when someone checks in. And so these are loose numbers, if you will, based on what we get back from our hoteliers. Even if there is a block, that doesn't necessarily mean that person is going to book in that block, because if they have points with another property, they're going to go with those instead. But these are the numbers that we have. It is a challenge to get that reporting done. We are still continuing to work with the Hotel Association and our lodging partners to try to better improve that reporting.
Thank you, Diane.
Daniel?
Just very quickly, I did want to mention, Diane, you mentioned it as well, as far as sales tax revenues, what that does for our economy. I do want to also stress that later on we'll be talking a bit about our budget. A lot of times cities get bogged down on the expenditures. We got to cut back. Yes, we do need to do that, but we also need to look for ways to increase our revenues. And one of the biggest ways that we can do it is the report that you guys just gave us is on expanding our tax base, which is Michael Looney's report, talked about economic development. That's huge for us. You increase the tax base, that takes the onus off the current property owners that are paying taxes for residential and commercial. And then, of course, sales tax revenues, that's our second largest revenue generated for the city. When those numbers go up as well, that takes the onus again off of our property taxpayers, our citizens. So we do sincerely appreciate everything that y'all are doing, wonderful reports, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
I want to reemphasize to Michael and to Diane, enlist our support any way that you can. Keep us informed. What you two do and your jobs is a very important piece of San Angelo. And I'm not sure we've always given your two positions the highlight, the pat on the backs that it deserves, because you're out there leading us forward and bringing new things to the table, and it's such an important part of our future. So please use us, talk to us, let us know what we can do to help, because the two of you carry a heavy load that we need.
We absolutely will, and thank you again for all your comments. I do have to say, we couldn't do this without a team. I have a fabulous team of people who work with me, and as does Michael. And so, and with the oversight of the Chamber of Commerce, we are very fortunate to be in our jobs.
Thank
Thanks.
you. We now are going to have a presentation of the annual report from San Angelo Cultural Affairs Council, and I believe Cynthia Lackey is here to do that today.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
How are y'all? Okay. Got it. So I am here to talk about the Cultural Affairs Council, and first I want to thank you for your continued support of the council and of all of the art organizations in San Angelo. We have assisted the City Council in awarding Hot Fund grants to other art organizations since 1989. We currently receive 5% of the 15% allowable by the state, and we distribute those funds through an annual subgranting program. Now, our subgranting program includes monies from the hotel occupancy tax, monies from the Texas Commission on the Arts, and private funds through raised through the Cultural Affairs Council. And that gives you an idea of the recipients last year, and those were a combination of private funds, TCA funds, and occupancy tax funds. Hitting the wrong button. There we go. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the scoring of our grant application because, of course, we know that the law says that the hotel occupancy tax funds must, number one, benefit tourism and convention, and then two, support the arts. So we have adjusted that scoring, and that gives you our scoring options. And so, of course, tourism is weighted the most in that scoring system. We require all of our grantees to complete the same report, and it's an electronic report. And it has been annual, but we have decided to change that to quarterly. Number one, to allow us to communicate better with the CVB on where people are coming from, what they're doing, et cetera. And number two, to assist our art organizations in getting their information in a timely manner. The Office of the Governor says that art and cultural tourists stay longer, they spend more, and they than the average tourist. I'm having a hard time seeing the switch. And so what I wanted to do was give you some of the statistics that we have. And we'll just look at the fiscal year 2015. One of the things that I wanted to show is that all of our art organizations together, they spend more on marketing than we give them in grants. And so I think that's very important to see that they are spending your dollars correctly and that they are marketing to tourists, etc. This gives you the number of participants. And then what we did was we have two categories. We have verified tourists. Those are the ones that they track through zip codes or people that we specifically bring in, and we can count them. And then we also have the estimated tourists, because at some points they're not sure if every person with that zip code was a tourist, etc. So we wanted to make sure that we get our data right. And there's some numbers that are hard numbers and some that are pretty loose. We also do that on booked hotel nights and estimated hotel nights. And the reason we do that is because the booked hotel nights are ones that are booked by the art organizations, and they can produce a receipt for those. And then the estimated hotel nights look at the number of people that we have coming into the city. And so you can see that, you know, you're getting more people per dollar. And the other thing I did that I wanted to show you was that I looked at the Arts and Economic Prosperity Calculator done by Americans for the Arts. And what they did is they went out and visited 341 communities in the United States, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. And they did surveys of all of their art organizations and their art organization participants. And so they came up with this great calculator that was developed by a university in Georgia. And you can put in your numbers, and it tells you approximately what your community is doing. And so the national impact of the arts is $166.3 billion, and that was in 2015. And you can see that we do attract new businesses, etc. And I'm not going to read all of that. But our local impact, when we put that in, was $10.7 million in 2017. And the way that's calculated, first they look at what the art organizations are doing, and that impact is $3.4 million, and that's their employees, et cetera, and their spending in the communities. And then our audiences do another $7.3 million in economic development in the city of San Angelo. And so you can look at, and just look at 2017, your $105,000 created an estimated $10.7 million. And it also brought back $466,000 in local revenue and then another $531,000 in state revenue, according to this arts calculator. You also like the job numbers of 320 full-time jobs in San Angelo that are supported by the arts organizations. Now, the tourism impact, the booked hotel room nights, those are the ones that we look at that we know we booked. And so those are receipts, and that's $150,000. And then the estimated room nights is almost $1 million. And it shows you the progression over the last 3 years. And when I looked in the tourism impact, I wanted to use the arts and economic development number because they say that every visitor spends about $47. And so with our verified tourists over the 3 years, that's a $10 million impact as well. So you can see that the arts support a lot in San Angelo and the Concho Valley, and we do contribute back to the community. And the relatively small investment of the hotel occupancy tax goes a long way. Now, I also wanted to talk about the community impact because sometimes that's just important. And what I did was I pulled from their anecdotal stories of their reports from this year. And the Civic Theater, their number one brag was that they had over 500 community volunteers. The greatest thing about the Civic Theater, they're the longest running theater in the state of Texas, and they have such an intergenerational impact because they have children, young adults, middle-aged, and the elderly all come and participate in the shows, they volunteer, etc. Now, the Ballet San Angelo, they started a new program this year, which is Dance for Parkinson's, and they're bringing in lots of people into the new San Angelo Performing Arts Center to do this program. The other thing that they did is they took advantage of their location and they started a grant program to do creative movement with the children who are housed at the family shelter. And so they just get to come across the street. They provided all the clothing, etc., that they needed, and that is a program that is free to those children. Now, the Museum of Fine Arts, it was really hard to pick one, but I love that Texas Highway says they're helping to make San Angelo the Santa Fe of Texas. Great things about the museum is our sculpture competition, also the plein air festival. We are one of 3 in the nation. There's one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast, and one right in the middle. And those are bringing in lots and lots of different tourists as artists and also people who want to see that work. The San Angelo Symphony, I picked their children's programs for them. They presented to 2,400 students the music and literature, and that's where different symphony members go out and read a book that relates to their musical instrument, and then they talk about their musical instrument and play it. They also presented 2,200 youth concerts. B Theater did a great program this year in the Diary of Anne Frank, and that is what SACAC supported for them. They performed to middle school students both in San Angelo and outside of San Angelo, and then they did the community performances. Concho Christmas, huge community impact, as Diane already alluded to. 236 Texas cities were represented, 18 states, and the country of Germany this year. And then Christmas at Old Fort Concho, we also support the musical programs, and just a little bit of money that SACAC was able to give to them this year supported 2 period bands, the Medicine Show, a Cowboy Roper, Chuck Wagon Camp, Native American Camp, and more. Not only did all of the community see this in the 3 days of Christmas at Old Fort Concho, but also over 1,000 students were able to see that privately on Friday during that show. And then the Healthy Families, I thought this was really neat. That has been going on for 27 years in this community. 3 generations of children have performed on that stage, and so that's really amazing, and we support the performance stage. Mosaic was another grant we gave a couple of years ago, and the individuals with developmental disabilities were able to participate in an art workshop with Signature Fine Art Gallery. And then Mosaic used their art for their Christmas cards that went out to everyone in the community, so I thought that was really neat. School of Rock was presented by Broadway Academy, and that was the first time that students were getting to use musical instruments, music lessons, and acting lessons on stage in San Angelo. And they did an inclusive summer acting workshop. I thought it was real interesting that one of the proclamations today was for direct support for professionals, and I had a little bit of this in the performance, in the presentation. But SABA did an inclusive summer workshop where they had individuals with IDD participating alongside able-bodied students, and it was really neat. And so I thought that was a good one for them. And I think that is to the end. And I just want to thank you all for your continued support. It's nice to know that we have 3 more years of supporting all of these art organizations, and we really appreciate it. And I'll take any questions.
Questions, comments from anybody? Again, I want to say thank you because the cultural arts are such an important part of this community. It's a proven fact that when young kids are taught music and other artistic, cultural things, that they do better in school. Yeah. And it's one of the things that I think we need to continue to project. We are a city blessed with tremendous talent, whether it be art, voice, symphony, we're just a terrific community. So thank you for supporting all of the cultural affairs groups. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to C, which is consider authorizing the city manager to reject the bid received from Reese Albert Incorporated for the RFB number ES-11-17 Bell Street Phase 1 Improvement Project. And Russell Pell, I think you're right there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Take it on.
All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. Just to remind everybody, the Bell Street Phase 1 project is a project that includes Bell Street from Rio Concho Drive to Harris Street. It's approximately 3/4 of a mile long. It includes replacement of our water and sewer main infrastructure underneath that street, as well as replacing the pavement, curb and gutter. It's going to include new traffic signals at Rio Concho Drive and Harris, and sidewalks along the east side of Bell Street. Our budget for this project was $5.6 million, of which 1.1 was out of the water fund, 1.18 was out of the sewer fund, and 3.3 million out of our pavement. We opened bids on August 4th. We only received 1 bid from Reese Albert Construction of San Angelo. Their total bid price was a little over $7.392 million, which was approximately 32% over our budgeted amount for that project. Of which 1.6 million was for the water, which was 47% over budget, and 2.6 million for sewer, which was 125% over budget. And then pavement was 3.079 million, which was a little shy of 7% under budget, so a little give and take. Again, staff recommends rejecting the bid, and we recommend rebidding this project, including phases 1, or all 3 phases for the Bell Street project. And just to give you kind of an update as to where we're at, we have completed the design plans for phases 1 and 2. We're currently finalizing phase 3 and should have by the end of October. We're about 70% complete with that at this point. Then we would we would advertise all 3 phases November through December, and construction would potentially start in January, February. But
will you talk about the benefit as far as rejecting and then bidding out 3 phases?
Yes, thank you. So the reason for rejecting this bid or rebidding it as all 3 phases is just with the anticipation of having more bidders, having a larger project is a little more to incentive other contractors from out of town or, even in town, and then just the, bringing in, have a larger quantity, getting better per unit prices for each of those items.
Would you go back to the slide that shows the numbers on that bid, that slide? I believe strongly that it makes it a better bid to have the 3 phases, but I'm also concerned when I look at the percent increase over what we had planned, because I think we need to be realistic in terms of, was this bid indicative that we are not aware of how expensive this project is, and even with the project being bid out in its entirety, that we're going to have expectations of our numbers being low compared to, in other words, sewer 125% over what we planned is a huge number. So
That's
what
great.
would bring that number to that larger percent increase?
Well, just having that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I had a good answer for that.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah. I think a lot of what happened here was that, maybe Reese Albert, might have known that they were the only contractor bidding on this, and we may have had, some differences there. We may have had, I can speculate a lot as to why this project came in as high as it did, but, our consultant that helped us come up with this budgetary number, they contacted several contractors throughout the state as well as West Texas to get a good idea. So it was, we were a little thrown back by the cost that was that this came back as. I think if we have a little more competition here, we can, come back with a better bid.
Did we have indication from other bidders, had this not been one large project,
right? Yeah.
that they would have bid had it been?
We
in
did have
smaller
some
pieces?
indication from, we had interest during our bidding phase from multiple contractors, and we really were expecting to get at least 2-3 bids, but they got, they had other projects come up. Just the economy of scale wasn't there, and that was just the indication that we got. I can only speculate so much.
Harry?
We're in the final phases of MLK, and so we really kind of have some kind of an indication of what the cost really is to do sections of street with water and sewer and pavement and all those other things. So I guess I'm a little concerned with, as the mayor said, why we are so high on this bid for water and sewer lines. The expert in the pavement on this particular case came in approximately where we thought they were. So is it the subcontractors? And if it is, are we going to have the same issue when, if we have multiple bidders? I will have to say, even though I am very, very disappointed because the majority of this is in my district, I get calls almost daily on when we're going to do this. So having a line almost drawn in the sand in October was one of those things I was looking forward to. To push it for another 3 months is going to be difficult, but I also understand that we're talking about taxpayers' dollars, and we've got to be as frugal with those as we can. So I can support bidding all 3 phases at the same time, but again, we've got the expertise. I just don't understand why the water and sewer bids were so high.
There is some complexity to this project. This is a 16-inch water main that we're replacing, which is, a very large water main. And, as far as our water mains in San Angelo go, And then two, the complexity with the sewer is the depth of the existing sewer. There's some areas in this, as it stands right now, that, it's about 30 foot deep, and that's very hard to construct. And then also keeping Bell Street open at the same time. So that was some of the issues that were brought up.
But the 30 feet deep is existing, right?
That's existing.
So that's not an unknown. We're not going deeper than we thought we would have to go.
Sure. I'm relying on my consultants here because just based on, the workload that we have, so we have to rely on them as to, come up with those figures and help us budget for these types of projects. And, one issue that was brought up too was there was some rock encountered. I don't know if our consultants, we did investigations as far as soils and how deep the rock is.
But that rock's been there, and
Yeah,
we do have a
I agree.
16-inch pipe already, and we are 30 feet deep already. So
Right, and we're coming back shallower too, so that was
so that shouldn't complicate it because those are existing conditions, correct?
correct. I can't speak for the contractors.
In other words, all this was accounted for basically when you had the advisor come in and say, hey, this is what
Right.
we feel this cost. All that was taken into consideration, and for some reason, it came in higher than we had anticipated. So really going back, as you mentioned, economies of scale, 3 different phases, should bring that price down, and we're very hopeful that that'll happen. It will, and mayor and council members will reevaluate exactly why our numbers were so much lower, and make sure that we do produce, or we do, when we do bid this out, that it's very realistic.
Right. In some ways, we can save money, and by combining this as mobilization costs, we can eliminate some of those costs. And also traffic control. There is a cost there with, having to mobilize a crew out to set up traffic control barriers. If we can have it set up for a longer project, we can, save some money there. There's a lot of different ways that we can save money by the economy of scale here, and just spreading these costs over the project.
I'm like Harry. Everywhere I go, someone asks me about Bell Street, so it is a very talked about subject. So I know we need to get on with it and get this project started, but staying within budget. So,
Hopefully,
yes,
too,
go
Mayor,
ahead.
this, we can go to school on this one because we obviously have.
We have several more.
We have
coming up.
another 8-9 years in the program to do the street. So hopefully we can go to school on this and maybe anticipate better on other areas of town.
Sure.
So.
And we've been using the projects that we've put out, like Harry mentioned, the MLK project, we were right on course as far as what we had budgeted for that project. So, we felt right on course with this one as well. So, I can't really, we only got one bid. So, it just.
Hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So do we need a motion on this to reject this bid and go back out for the whole project?
That's great.
Lane, I think you had a question first.
I'm looking at the bid right here on mobilization and startup, the 5%. That 331,000, would that be taken away from phase 2 and 3?
Potentially, yes,
That would
and
be one,
that's what I was
so that would
bringing
be
up. That could potentially be a $500,000 saving easily.
Lane, any other questions? Then do I have a motion to, I'm assuming I can put this all in one motion instead of 2 motions. So we are going to make a motion to reject the existing bid from Reese Albert and go back out on a rebid for the entire project. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in, any public comment, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Steve Hampton. I appreciate this rebidding. I think it's a very good idea. I did not quite understand why the 125% over and the nearly 50 over was mentioned compared to what you've already had on the Martin Luther King. Is there some change? Did they change the subcontractor on that, or what? I didn't quite understand that. And thank you.
Further public comment? If not, we will take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item D, consider first public hearing and introduction of an ordinance deleting and replacing Chapter 2, Article 2.08, Section 2.08.002, Classification Plan of the San Angelo Code of Ordinances. And Teresa, I believe you're presenting.
This is another one of those ordinances that's cleaning up our code of ordinances. Currently, we authorize our police and fire department's force through the budget ordinance, which you're going to hear next on first reading. And so that process was also duplicated within our code of ordinances. And not only was it unnecessary to be in both places, but it was leading to some inconsistencies in the numbers that we're trying to avoid. So all the ordinance does is delete those classifications from our code and authorizes the city manager to provide to you in a budget ordinance those numbers which you'll approve.
Questions for Teresa? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
All in favor? Oh, public comment? With no public comment, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes 7-0. Item E is discussion and consideration of matters related to the fiscal year 2017 and 18 operating budget, including the first public hearing and introduction of an ordinance of the City of San Angelo approving and adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $1,540,425, or a 4.29% increase. And of that amount, $635,425 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year. And number two, conduct a separate record vote to ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget and place the adoption of this tax rate on the agenda for the September 5th, 2007 regular meeting of the City Council as an action item. And we've got Tina Dursky.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Mayor, Council, Mr. Valenzuela. Tina Dursky, the Director of Finance. We have today our first public hearing and introduction of the 2018 budget ordinance, and then we'll also conduct a separate record vote to ratify the property tax revenue increase. And so I'll just remind you that some of the things that we've included in this budget are the salary adjustments for employees, health insurance, additional ambulance crew, and additional police officers. So that's the first thing that we'll talk about, discuss, and adopt is that budget ordinance. So if you have any questions on that, I'll be happy to answer them. I'll remind you that the budget ordinance does include the authorization for the 951 FTEs that we do have in the city of San Angelo.
Sorry, Tina.
So I was just saying that we'll adopt the budget ordinance first, then we'll move on to the tax levy information. And if anyone has any questions on this one, I'll be happy to answer.
Do I have questions from City Council or comments?
Move to approve as presented.
For a second. Any public comment, please?
She hadn't presented her her remaining portion of her presentation.
We're going to take two separate votes. All in favor of?
Just a minute, Mayor. We're
Yes.
negotiating an issue
Okay.
right here.
All righty. We're going to have a change of strategy here. So what we are going to do at this point is not take a vote on E1 or 2 items, and what we are going to do is to move E to executive session under the section 551.0712, consultation with attorney regarding 703 South Chadbourn.
Well, it's regarding item E on the regular agenda.
Okay. So at this point, we are going to,
We can go ahead and go through all the executive session items, go ahead and knock those out. So if you want to read those too, Mayor, we can
okay, I'm going to
address
go
that.
ahead and read the executive session items, and then we will take a break and go into executive session. So in
A motion on the floor. Are we not going to do anything with that first portion?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Teresa, does Harry need to rescind his motion and me my second?
No, we can leave the motion as it stands, and if he wants to modify it after we come out, then he may do that.
Okay.
All right, so A, section 551.071, A, consult with attorney when the governmental body seeks the advice of its attorney about pending or contemplated litigation regarding 1, the 2013 seal coating program contract, 2, Templeton Construction, and 3, I'll Say Incorporated versus City of San Angelo, Texas Corolla Engineers Incorporated. B, section 551.072, deliberations about real property regarding 703 South Chadbourn. C, section 551.0712, consultation with attorney regarding 703 South Chadbourn. And then we will be adding the item E to this closed session. I don't think I have to reread those. And then D, section 551.081, to discuss or deliberate project 2017-223G regarding a commercial or financial information that the governmental body has received from a business prospect that the government body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations. So at this point, at 10:10 a.m., we are going to adjourn for executive session. We have a motion on the floor and by Harry and a second by Tommy. And that motion is the first public hearing and introduction of an ordinance of the City of San Angelo approving and adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $1,540,425 or 4.29%. And of that amount, $635,425 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year. And so we will, oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear all of that?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to now open it up for public comment. Any public comment? We will then take a vote. All of those in favor of approving the budget, say aye.
Aye.
A second? Any nays? No. Motion passes 7-0. We will now conduct a separate record vote to ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget and place the adoption of this tax rate on the agenda for the September 5th, 2017 regular meeting of the City Council as an action item.
Okay, Mayor, and on this one, I'm going to need whoever makes the motion to read the language directly from the PowerPoint. And since this is a record vote, I'll need to have each of your votes individually so that we know how you voted.
All right, so if there's a motion first, is there a motion?
Need that language right there, just a motion. I move to ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget and place the adoption on this tax on the agenda for September 5th, 2017, regular meeting of the City Council as an action item.
I'll second the motion.
Would you read that?
Ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget and place the adoption of this tax on the agenda for the September the 5th, 2017 regular meeting of the City Council as an action item.
Do I have public comment? All right, then I will call for a vote, and I'm going to start with you, Tommy, if you will place a vote and then read the, right?
I don't think there's any need to read it again, just have.
Cast the vote.
By position, so council member, single member District 1, how do you vote?
Council member, single member District 1, I vote aye.
Council member single District 2, I vote aye.
Council member, single member District 3, I vote aye.
Billy?
Council member, single member District 6, I vote aye.
Council member District 5, I vote aye.
Council member District 4, I vote aye.
Mayor San Angelo, I vote aye. Motion passes. Item F, consider first public hearing and introduction of an ordinance levying property taxes for the city of San Angelo for the 2017 tax year. An ordinance fixing and leveling ad valorem taxes for the current tax year for use and support of the municipal government of the city of San Angelo, Texas for the 2017-18 budget year, providing for the assessment and collection thereof, providing when the tax shall become due, providing when the tax shall become delinquent, providing for exemptions, providing for severability, providing for publication on the city-operated website, and providing for an effective date. Tina?
Yes, ma'am. As you said, this is the ordinance that allows us to levy a property tax. As all of you know, you have voted to keep that rate the same this year at .776 cents per $100 of valuation. 0.6824 of that amount is dedicated to maintenance and operations, and the remaining 9.36 cents is dedicated to debt service for a total of .776.
Any comments or questions from city council members? And do I have a motion to approve the .7760 property tax rate?
So moved, .7760.
Second.
I'm sorry, can I correct the motion just a little bit, just to approve the ordinance as presented?
Harry, do you approve the ordinance as presented?
I do.
My second goes with the ordinance as presented.
Any public comment? All right, we will take a vote. Tommy?
We need to vote separately, Brian?
Not on this one.
Okay.
All in favor of the ordinance as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No. Passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Now we will discuss items from our, Item 8 is the follow-up and administrative issues. Consider items discussed in executive session. And the item C, section consultation with attorney regarding 703 South Chadbourn. At this point, we will not be renewing the lease agreement on 703 South Chadbourn.
We probably need a motion to do that.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any public comment?
The motion was to not renew the lease.
Was what?
To not renew the lease.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm David Wood, the president of the Railway Museum. We've been working closely with Daniel and Cindy on getting all the figures and stuff together for them that they asked for. They told us that there would not be a problem with renewing the lease. And so this is quite a surprise. May I ask why?
Teresa is asking why we're not renewing the agreement, so he was asking for a response on that.
That was issues that we were discussing in executive session, and as attorney-client privilege requires, I'm not able to discuss it in an open meeting. Nor will they discuss it as well.
So you all can't say why that just last week Daniel and was saying everything's fine and we're
I will
moving
say
ahead.
that in the meantime, since you had the meeting with Daniel, issues have come up that have degraded our belief that it would be prudent for the city to continue that lease.
Well, there's going to be a large campaign going on then, I guess, through the media that we will start today working on. If this lease is not renewed, let me assure you that there will be a large community outcry about it. We have done everything we've been asked to do. We had a problem with a lady that Daniel asked to come up and be the go-between between the city and the depot, and she just did not perform the duties as she said she was going to. We've hired an executive director to take over that, and we've been keeping Daniel and Cindy apprised of everything. We've got everything ready to present to y'all. We were told that it wouldn't be done until next meeting, and we were told there's nothing on the agenda for this meeting. So this is quite a surprise that this comes up like this. We've got all the money shown where we're going to raise it as you asked for, Mayor. We've got projections shown for. We've been working with ASU, even though they don't work with nonprofits normally. ASU Small Business Development, make sure everything was up to snuff on everything on our business plan. So this is quite a surprise that y'all decided to not renew this lease.
At this point, that concludes information discussed in the consent agenda. I mean, in the executive session. So,
A vote.
all right, we will take a vote on the on not renewing the 703 South Chadbourn lease at this point. Do I have a motion?
We have the motion and the second, we just don't have the vote yet.
Okay, so we're going to take a vote. All in favor of not renewing the lease, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. We are going to move on to follow up and administrative issues, which we just did, considered items discussed in executive sessions. So are there any announcements and consideration of future agenda items?
I have none.
I'd like for our water department to look at the rate structure in relation to the new study that we just approved last meeting and how that would potentially affect the balance in relation to potential rebates to our clients and our citizens, and also a briefing on our efforts with the water partnership, Texas Water Partnership, to see how our current money and investment is being spent and the benefits thereas.
All right, thank you, Lane. Lucy?
I have nothing.
Tommy?
No, ma'am.
Tom?
I'm good.
Harry?
Nothing at this time.
And Daniel?
I just want to invite the public. This Friday, we are doing the rededication for the 9/11 Memorial. It was, of course, last year during the summer, it was destroyed with a steel piece that we received from Ground Zero. It was stolen. The police department continues to work on that. However, we did get a contributor for another piece that is actually at location at this point. But again, we'd like to invite the community just to remember those fallen, those heroes at 9/11. It's going to be a really good ceremony, so we're really hoping that the public shows up for that. Again, that's this Friday. It's going to be held at 10 o'clock in the morning at the 9/11 Memorial.
Thank you. I also would like that in conversation and consideration of Lane's request for us also to get an update on the previous consultant that we've hired relative to previous studies over the past 2 years in terms of that information and what we have been able to do with that information, if any action has been able to take place. Anything else, then we will adjourn this meeting at 12:21 p.m.
We do need a motion because this is an actual action.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.